for the last few days, everybody's been talking about Beam, these Beam reference track leaks. Now, reference track leaks are not new for Drake in music and on social media. This almost have been going on, it feels like, since the beginning of time. The guy has people who've known Drake have always discussed and revered that he was a great writer. Somewhere along the line, he just got lazy. Or maybe he wasn't pumping out enough hits for UMG. They weren't fast enough. Whatever the case is, he started using an abundance of ghostwriters. But first, let's clear one thing up. There's a difference between writing credits on a song and ghostwriting. Now, for us, ghostwriting is usually referred to when a person writes your lyrics and you keep it a secret, sort of. Many times they are credited on the music, but a lot of times people like to keep them secret. There's a lot of money to be made in ghostwriting, but for rappers, it was more prevalent because it's such an authentic craft that you want to be known for doing it yourself. And for us in hip hop culture, we've always sort of accepted it, but we've always known that you could never be labeled the best lyricist unless you wrote your own authentic truth. Now, that authentic truth, just like a writer of books and poetry, that authentic truth to you can be fictional or it could be built and rooted in facts, but it has to be your own idea. So back to Drake, shortly after the Meek Mills debacle, Meek Mills actually was probably one of the first people to expose him, but it was whispered about in the music industry, but people ignored it. We all ignored it until Drake started on this campaign about being the greatest and he's the most streamed and he's the best rapper. And those conversations are different from being a pop star. Now, granted, you have to have an it factor to even be a pop star to sell records, whether somebody else wrote them or not. But when you start talking about hip hop, it's in sort of a different lane, a lane of its own. And the expectation in hip hop is a little different from the expectation in pop, country, heavy metal, and all those other genres. Because remember, it was birthed out of struggle, mostly Black struggle. Rap was the voice of the people, whether it was pain, struggle, happiness, celebration. Rap was birthed from hip hop culture. And so the authentic truth was always the thing that was reveled and celebrated. So now, getting back, all of that preface the fact that these tracks have been leaked again, but this time by Beam. So you better tell Beam to stay right with you. Oh, Kendrick's lyrics have been coming back to life little by little over the last almost 2 years. And it's been so special to watch, especially when it comes to Drake, because it feels like, and it only matters what it feels like, because I don't have to know Drake. I have to want to know him, or I have to want to like him to buy his music or to subscribe to whatever it is he's selling. And for me, I don't subscribe because this is a sad day for him, on top of the fact that he's been trying to come back and he's already severed a lot of ties with ghostwriters because of his suspicion for people who were leaking his business during the rap business. During the rap beat. But it seems that he didn't sever his ties with Beams right away. I'm saying Beams, but it's Beam. Beam. Well, now, Beam's producer, Dim Crux, DIM_CROX on Twitter, or X, has started leaking reference tracks. This time, initially a few days ago, he released the Trump Tower reference track that was supposedly the verses that he used with the song with Central C. But there may be trouble in paradise for him in this relationship with Beam and or Beam's producer, because after that, Beam's producer started leaking like a bunch of reference tracks. So the point to this is there's still this conversation about him being inauthentic and whether or not his story resonates with hip hop, not just rap, because anybody can be a rapper. There are country music stars that rap. There's lots of people that rap. Beyonce raps, but she never claims to be the best rapper. Now let's just break it down to Beam. Beam is the ghostwriter during the rap battle, called out and said, "Stay right with you," because Kendrick slapped him down real quick if he was using Beam during the battle. But Beam has been credited on some of Drake's work, but not all of Drake's work. So it seems that he has credits on Her Loss, God's Plan, and maybe Trump Tower, but there's some stuff that Beam is saying, or Beam's producer is saying he wrote, that he never got credit for. And those reference tracks have been leaked. So he never got credit, and they're saying that he actually wrote on For All the Dogs. So the question becomes, if all of Drake's major work, the ones that you guys say was, oh, it was so good, even some of the timestamp records that Chapo has come out and said he wrote, and it's never been disputed by Drake. If this is the work that you guys are celebrating this guy for, is it not time? Of course, for me, it's been time. Is it not time to give up the conversation about Drake even being in any history books for all time, best rappers, or even any contribution to the genre? Yes, he's delivered some shake your booty, rapidy rap songs over the last 15 years, and he's boasted that he's the top streamer in the world. But guess what? We've learned through this Thug and Gunna beef that Thug has been buying streams, right? And this is not new, but we've never been able to point out Drake for buying streams. It's reasonable to assume that he and Drake are friends, proclaimed friends. They've acknowledged this over and over again. If they're such big friends, who gave Thug the plug? So people are saying Thug's manager gave him the plug. Nah. Thug's friend gave him the plug. Thug told his manager, and his manager went and did the work because he pays him. So it's safe for me to assume that none of the records that Drake holds for streaming matters. Those, you can take that out of the conversation at this point, because we understand that the reason Drake accused Kendrick of botting and botting streams is because he had firsthand knowledge of it, and he's the main culprit. So if you erase streams from his repertoire, that leaves him as not a rapper, just a pop star. And for me, the conclusion of this conversation would be, it's time for Drake to kind of get out of hip hop and just do pop, and we would appreciate him. But once he does it, I think he should announce it so that all of his stands, not his fans, all of his stands can understand where he is and stop harassing real hip hop fans. I don't know if you guys have been tracking this Stephen A. Smith thing. It's always Stephen A. Smith. He'll calm down a few months. He'll get in hot water. He'll back it up. And then he'll go back to doing what he's supposed to do, sports. And then he'll say something out of pocket again, get in hot water. And then he'll double down sometimes, or he'll retract it. And that's been kind of the roller coaster that we've been on with Stephen A. Smith for several years. If you go back and track my video on LeBron and Stephen A. Smith, I had said then that Stephen A. Smith needs therapy. And I find that many Black men, when they ascend to power and their voice gets bigger, sometimes the ignorant stuff that we've ignored because we're so proud of them being who they are and overcoming like really tough situations, that we forget that sometimes they can say stuff. And especially in Black communities, because it becomes hard for them to separate the cyclic bad teaching. I think Stephen A has been sort of a victim of his own upbringing, because now that his voice is big, every now and then he lets out the thing that's probably his biggest thorn. And his biggest thorn is his misogynistic views on the world and in the world. The guy is a total misogynist and he doesn't know it. He really needs therapy, and therapy will help him identify it. I can't say that therapy will change it, but it will definitely help him identify who he is and accept who he is and stand in his truth, because he will double down on a misogynistic view. He will do it. He did it with Serena Williams, and he's doing it again with Jasmine Crockett. Now, let me go back. When I initially did my first video a few months ago, it was when he was criticizing Serena Williams about her crip walk at the Super Bowl, totally dismissing the fact that she had tried the crip walk at Wimbledon and been criticized for it. That's part of her legacy. But he automatically pointed to some bull crap about an ex-boyfriend, and she's got a whole husband, a rich whole husband, which he totally negated. And I won't even get into the fact that the guy came on his show recently and he didn't show up for his show. Talking about some cowardice. Okay, he had something else to do. But we're getting back to the Stephen A. Smith and Jasmine Crockett debacle, because he sat on his whole platform and criticized Jasmine Crockett for the way she articulates her views, the way she presents to other people is not professional, and the way she talks about her president and disagrees with her president is just wrong. Well, okay, say you're a Trumper without saying you're a Trumper, Stephen A. Smith, but that's beside the point, because who are you to tell a person how they want to articulate their feelings and their thoughts? First, knowing that Jasmine Crockett is highly intelligent and highly educated, why would you even fix your mouth to criticize the way that she presents to her constituents? First of all, if her constituents are not worried about it. And secondly, for me, I appreciate the way she presents and articulates, especially thoughts around government and politics. Because although I have several degrees, up to a doctorate degree, and am highly educated and highly studied, I don't really understand politics. I'm only interested when it affects me directly, I'm sorry to say, but I need a person like Jasmine Crockett to break it down to me like I'm in the second grade so I get it. And now I can form an educated opinion about what's going on through the facts that she gave me in a manner in which I can understand. Now, do everybody appreciate it? It seems like everybody does, everybody except for Donald Trump and his people and Stephen A. Smith. Of course, I mean, it could be one and the same. But are you just mad because her voice is loud and maybe louder than yours? But are your opinions rooted in your still misogynistic views about how a woman should present, how she should stay in her place? These are misogynistic views. How she should be silent and subservient, how her views don't matter. Is this your opinion because your whole upbringing and your cultural connection to Blackness tells you that women should be quiet? Like I said, they should be subservient. They should not have an opinion. They are not smart. They should stay in their place, and they should always agree with the male's point of view. That is an old that is an old theology. It doesn't work in the United States of America anymore. And if Stephen A. Smith heals, I believe he can at least identify where he goes wrong with doubling down on always criticizing women, especially women of power. Now, I'm not in his circles, and maybe he's criticizing little old people little old women over at McDonald's. I don't know. But so far, for me, I disagree with his criticism of Angel Reese because she's rising in basketball. You want to denounce her efforts and her contributions. I disagree with your criticism of Serena Williams. Baby, crip walk all you want. Crip, even if you crip walking on your ex's grave, crip walk on that grave, boo. Because guess what? He was singing songs and crip walking on yours when you got married. I disagree with his views about WNBA commissioner when he called for her to be dethroned. And I absolutely disagree with his opinion about Jasmine Crockett because there is nothing of merit that he has said to condone his rhetoric toward her. And he spoke nothing of her politics. He's only criticizing her demeanor and the way she comes across and the way she's not subservient to Donald Trump, and because she agrees with him, just because she disagrees with him. But guess what? Lots of people in this country are disagreeing with Trump's tactics and with his politics right now. And it's only serving a handful of people. It's not serving most Americans. Now, do I disagree with all of Trump's policies? Absolutely not. But I disagree with most of them. And it is Jasmine Crockett's own perspective, and she's allowed to articulate her own perspective in the manner in which is comfortable for her, and in a manner in which her constituents can understand her. And it feels like to me, her constituents are okay with it. Only the Trumpers are not okay with it, and Stephen A. Smith. Now, that says a lot for Stephen A.'s opinion right about now. Anyway, y'all, I hope that y'all have enjoyed my talk. I know you're probably pulling into work right about now. I've enjoyed talking to you this morning on your drive in. Happy Tuesday. Remember, in all of the rooms, when there's a discussion, there should be an adult. Today, I am the adult. And I just want to say to you guys, thank you for supporting, and thank you again for stopping back by the house. Y'all have a good day.